back. I am 13 doing another video for Squirrel Dealer. Tonight we're going to be that darn dirty Oko player, but we are going to meme it up along the way, which I feel is something that we do pretty well around here. So this was actually going to be 28 Okos, but it doesn't quite work that well. I decided to be responsible and not do the full blown just copy Oko a million times plan and try to go for a little bit of a better record, but I mean, feel free to express any anger or frustrations with that, but yeah, we're going to go full-blown Oko tonight. So our 12 Okos to speak of are Oko himself, Spark Double, which is going to allow us to get a copy of Oko, and he's going to enter the battlefield with one more loyalty counter because honestly he wasn't broken enough in the first place. And then Clever Impersonator. So Clever Impersonator is one of the few clones that actually allows us to copy a non-land permanent as opposed to only a creature, especially in Pioneer. But we can only use Clever Impersonator to copy Spark Double because Spark Double makes Oko not legendary. So I do want to take one moment here to actually pull up what a board state needs to look like for things like quasi-duplicate to work. You actually need to have a Spark Double on the battlefield that is not actually copying something. So there are a couple of ways that we can make this work. We can end up using something like the New Goblin or a Metallic Mimic that forces it to enter with a +1/+1 counter on it. Or we have to have a Anthem effect similar to Circle of Loyalty or Gideon Ally of Zendikar that will give all of our creatures +1. Because what this allows us to do is put in Spark Double, and he has a May clause that says, would you like to copy something? If I say no, then in most board states he'd die, but because he already has his 1 power and toughness here, he can survive. So we do have the ability to use something like quasi-duplicate on a Spark Double that's not a copy of something, and we can literally get, I mean, we have an infinite deck size. We can make infinite Okos, but it's a really rare situation, and a Spark Double sticking around and not dying to something like a Wild Slash is very improbable, which is why we ended up going this route. But I'd say no here. Spark Double enters, he sticks around as a 2/2, and then we could quasi-duplicate it, but it honestly doesn't work very well. So that's going to be the core of our 12 cards that we care about for getting 12 Okos. Beyond that, we are a food deck, so we're going to be running Gilded Goose, Wicked Wolf, Trail of Crumbs. Trail of Crumbs actually just barely came around to Pioneer. I didn't even know this was a card. I think I even ran into it last week and was like, oh my gosh, I need to read that. This card is busted. If you have not played with it, I highly recommend you give it a shot because it's a very powerful magic card to get some card advantage. Wicked Wolf is actually one of the best green creatures in the format, and that's actually saying something. And then we're going to be using Traverse the Ulenwald to actually go tutor up our clones. We're going to be running Heart of Kirin because it blocks the elves really well, and our Okos are going to have a ton of loyalty. And we do have the ability in this deck to have 12 Okos on the battlefield. So, of course, we have a Chain Veil. If it happens to get to Happy Magic Christmas Land, getting 18 activations of Oko a turn is just, oh, that's my wheelhouse. And that's the deck. We are running Nissa Vital Force because we can actually use Spark Double to immediately alter the turn that she comes in. Ugins is a very powerful magic card, and we have a couple of ways to stick around. He's just a powerful finisher. Treasure Cruise for some card advantage, and that's going to be the deck tonight. Pretty excited about this one because we get to be a darn dirty, filthy Oko player. Alright, this is not a turn 2 Oko, but it is actually really close. This is turn 1 Gilded Goose, turn 2 Traverse if we don't hit anything else. But we have a Spark Double, assuming we find an Oko, we'll have 2 of them, and Wicked Wolf should be able to take us very far. Turn 3 Wicked Wolf actually isn't that bad. And it looks like we're playing either Mono Green or a deck pretty similar to ours. Alright, see what you got. We are playing a couple of our greedy fun-ups that I'm probably notorious for, like Ugins should be able to clean the deck in the mirror, or clean up the side in the mirror. Yikes. Alright, just going straight for that food token. So, no immediate answer yet. And I might be double traversing here. Is it worth consuming the food token? Probably not, because that means I won't be able to ramp the following turn. So yeah, we'll just traverse now. Go get a forest. Ship it on back over to opponent. Yeah, we're playing 12 Okos, and we got turn 2 Oko'd, so that feels a little bad, man. Maybe should have mulliganed a little bit harder, but what can you do? Alright, they have a food token. I know that this is going to come up. Spark Double has to copy something that you control, so I'm not able to copy my opponent's Oko here. And Selfless Spirit, so they're going to be on a little bit of a go wide strategy. Trail of Crumbs. Alright, well, we get to Wicked Wolf, eat their food. We won't actually have the extra food around. So we can trade Wicked Wolf for a food token. That's not great. Trade Wicked Wolf for Selfless Spirit seems fine. But then that means that we're probably just going to get elked. Alternatively, it's Trail of Crumbs draw card, gain 3 life. I think we just eat the Selfless Spirit and actually force them to commit to the board here. If we miss on a land drop, we'll be able to traverse next turn. Not ideal, but I mean, these are the cards we got. So we'll put Wicked Wolf down. Wicked Wolf enters and fights a creature. We fight the Selfless Spirit. That should prompt them to sack it. Then, assuming Oko actually elks our wolf, we still ended up getting in kind of a 2-for-1 out of it. Oh, they're just going to go wide. No fear. No fear at all. Well, this Trail of Crumbs is actually going to give me a food token when it enters, which means my current Wicked Wolf is going to be pretty decent. Spark Double. Well, another Spark Double means that I get to copy Wicked Wolf, but without the additional food tokens, not in a great spot. I do want to actually make my land drop for turn, so let's go ahead and traverse, and then yeah, may as well get an extra blue. Then this Wicked Wolf needs to play defense since I'm already at 9. Alright. Trail of Crumbs, and we'll block a food token. Oh, you have countermat? You have a Spell Queller. I don't know if we actually beat Spell Queller here. Wicked Wolf next turn can eat it, but if they have another one, we're down. This is a weird Spirits food blend. Okay, the fact that they didn't actually elk the Spell Queller. Alright, well, I'm going to say good runnings on that a little bit. We got a little greedy with our 4 drops in hand, but they had exactly the right cards. Well, Brazen Borrowers, Petty Theft to get back Spell Queller stuff seems pretty interesting here. Display of Dominance will make it so that our stuff can't be targeted by their blue stuff, but more importantly, kill a blue permanent. Aether Gust actually hits all their stuff. We're going to go super control-y out of the board, which means Ugin comes out. I like Nis on the top end. Nis on the top end should be pretty good, but it does mean that the Clever Impersonator package is just a little bit too cute. I do have the ability to copy their stuff with Clever Impersonator, so if I don't have an Oko, but they do, I can make a copy of theirs, but I can't really make a copy of anything that matters in the air, so yeah, Clever Impersonator is probably just going to have to take the cut for the things that actually are actively good versus their deck. Heart of Kirin is going to be pretty good here. The Caryatid might be a little out of place. It was supposed to make it so that we can still make a 4-drop on 3, and Wicked Wolf is still a beating here. Maybe the Chain Veil is just a little too cute. Typically, I like to take out some of my Fun-Ups post-board. It just makes more sense. If they are a Coco deck, which it kind of looked like they might have been, Grafdigger's Cage could be interesting, but we didn't confirm that, so I'm not going to lean into that very heavily at the moment. As long as I'm making trims, the Trail of Crumbs can probably get cut. It's a very powerful card for grinding, but we have some very good top-end cards that actually go a little bit over and don't get spell quellered. Let's see, 2 more trims, maybe not the Brazen Borrowers. It can block all their spirits. And it's a really good tempo play, and we have better top end. I think I'm on board with that. Maybe not the Display of Dominance. The targeted removal might just be a little bit too much here. Not overly scientific, but when you have a lot of cards that you want, you're going to end up trimming some things that work just for some things that are actually good. Egad. Yeah, that doesn't work. I want that to work, but that doesn't work. Alright, and we'll keep this. I guess we're going to tuck a land, because we're going to have 3 draws to try to get another land for Wicked Wolf on tempo. So it's probably the Fabled Passage. It's actually a fine turn 2 play. Guess it's just going to be the forest. The 2 life from the fetch land actually might matter here. But I'd rather have all the color fixing given the fact that we have a double green in hand. Alright, there's a temple garden. Ooh, traverse. Yeah, turn 2 play out of them that I care about. It's not going to be Selfless Spirit. They didn't have a 1-drop for the Oko. So I guess we'll just traverse for a basic. May as well get the forest that we tucked here, and then I think we're safe to have another tap land at the moment. This also means that my Fabled Passage is going to interplay untapped on turn 3. So if they do cast anything here I even moderately care about, I get to Oko it. Yep. Don't care about you, Selfless Spirit. Do appreciate the effort, though. Oko comes down. We're creating a food token because the +2 is more relevant than elking this and kind of getting in the danger zone for being attacked. That's a Tireless Tracker. Wicked Wolf is going to do some pretty good work eating that. Oh, opponent, do you not know that we have 12 Okos in our deck? How could you know? Alright. Wicked Wolf, eat Tireless Tracker. Oko, make a food. The first Oko down wins. That is something I heard a lot about in Standard, and it's definitely showing to be pretty true here. Now we get to untap and actually have a food generation with our Oko, get a hold up Mystic Dispute. Yeah, feeling pretty decent spot. Deputy of Detention. Hitting our Wicked Wolf. Okay. Honestly, not that big of a deal. Another Wicked Wolf just buys us out of it, and we're pretty soon going to have a couple of Okos running around. Aether Gust. It's a red or green creature. Or spell. Either way, this means that we get to hold some stuff up. If we start elking here, it means that Oko will actually start dying to this Selfless Spirit, which is worth mentioning, but we're going to get some power out, and honestly, opponent hitting our Wicked Wolf here just means that we're going to... I hit the wrong food token. Lovely. Wicked Wolf entering the battlefield is going to be another eat effect for their go wide small creature strategy. I could also see a world in which I elk the Selfless Spirit and they sack it in response if I act like I'm going to do something nasty. Petty Theft on Oko. Okay. Seems fine. I mean, my Mystic Dispute wasn't going to hit it anyway, and my life total honestly doesn't matter at the given moment. So by all means, good with that. Alright. With these pain-free fetches, it is technically more correct to do it during my upkeep. Look at that, another Oko. I assume opponent has counter magic here, expecting a Spell Queller. Yep, and I'm going to Mystic Dispute this because it's basically free. Just because it is pain-free, it really doesn't matter. Food token gets in. And then, am I the beatdown here? Opponent has a Brazen Borrower coming in next turn. I'm not going to be able to cast my Aether Gust yet. I think I am, and honestly, not +2ing here makes opponent want to actually go after my Oko a little bit faster with their flyers. So I'm okay to see if they want to start trying to tempo down this Oko. Yikes. That's going to make Wicked Wolves bad in the future. We're going to have to eat a lot of food in order to kill a Deputy if this stays active for too long. And I guess Aether Gust technically answers that. At least for a turn. Yep, you got it, opponent. Oko down, Oko down. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do here is attack in with my food tokens at Vivian. I could see them trying to chump with the Elvish Mystic. I mark 3 damage on this though when they block, and then I Oko Elk this. It should... No, it'll keep the counters. It doesn't work that way. I was going to say it would turn it into a 3/3 and die from the damage, but the counters are going to persist after I Elk it. So Deputy on defense is going to be eating a food token each turn. Gilded Goose is actually going to be netting me more life than the Selfless Spirit has. Aether Gust hitting Vivian is going to be kind of a tempo play, but they just get to recast it and reactivate it. That fight's nasty. I don't like that fight. Not going to lie, not super stoked about the current position of things. If I Aether Gust the Elvish Mystic and attack in, I'm at least going to be able to knock 3 loyalty off. I don't think that's a winning line, though. So if I attack in, I at least get the Elvish Mystic off the table. I get to make a food token and Elk it. It's going to let me commit a little bit harder to the board. This does mean that plussing on the Selfless Spirit's going to be able to kill Oko this turn. I'll have the Gilded Goose. That should actually make it so that they're a little less inclined to take that line. All right, let's attack Vivian. I do want this off the table. And if they get it a little too greedy in the future, the Aether Gust picking up the Mystic should be able to make my food tokens kill Vivian next turn. Putting out this Gilded Goose for the additional food token that won't have Summoning Sickness next turn is actually a really big deal. If opponent does try to take the line to kill Oko, running out another one and attacking in with a food token, should prove lethal to Vivian. But I guess we got to see what's going on. Ooh, that is fantastic. Aether Gust, you're going to come in clutch here. Yep, you got it. No complaints from me. Interesting. Huh. I guess I won't be able to kill this if they go with this line, but that's fine. I have another Oko in hand. I'm mildly concerned that they have 5 mana open. They are really looking like a Collected Company deck, so I could see Coco into something like a Spell Queller being an actual possibility for what happens next turn. Spark Double. So eat this. I don't have enough mana to Oko and Spark Double this turn. I'm 1 mana off. All right, well, there's no fear in this stream. None at all. They have to hit a Deputy of Detention in order to get rid of all my food tokens. Yep. Brazen Borrower, Selfless Spirit. Yep, that's not going to do it. So they can't block with the Brazen Borrower. They shouldn't have anything for 1 mana that lets them survive. So the 2 foods at Vivian should kill it. I assume that means I'm just supposed to attack here. Attack Vivian. Attack Vivian. Now the question is, am I supposed to Elk the something of theirs? If I Elk the Deputy, I don't get it back. I'm probably Aether Gusting this because it has counters on it. They do get a Scry, but that's fine. Getting a 3/3 on the ground just means that Deputy's still going to swing in. I think this Oko is basically just dying. So if I plus, they have to send all 3 flyers at it. Aether Gust not hitting any of their flyers is kind of annoying. I can throw a Gilded Goose in front of it and keep it alive for a turn and have double active Oko. Honestly, that's the point of this stream, so I think that's what we're doing. Let's go ahead and... If I elk one of these, I can get them to tuck it. So, yeah, let's actually put a Selfless Spirit. Then that means that Gilded Goose is going to sack itself to their creature. Yikes. Okay, well, going into combat that fast really makes me think that they have... Okay, well, I know I want to do this. They either have Coco or they have nothing. I'm doing this before blocks so that I can tell if they have a Spell Queller incoming. Then block here and block here. Keep my Oko alive. Alright, so this Brazen Borrower end step might be a problem. Oh, that is amazing. Ah, Wicked Wolf, you... We could have double Oko here. Alright, well, it doesn't matter. Wicked Wolf is going to eat the... Actually, no, that doesn't work. If I try to eat the Deputy, they'll just sack the Selfless Spirit. So I need to Wicked Wolf, eat the Selfless Spirit, and then hold up the ability to crack food whenever I feel it's necessary. Do you have Spell Queller? Eat this. As expected. Then they get to send 3 damage at Oko, and that's it. I guess they get to send 6. Yeah, so Oko dies here, but we're going to have a food-filled board and a Wicked Wolf. And then we get a fight next turn. The Spark Double entering with an extra counter means that we can actually use Wicked Wolf to eat something here, and then still have this be a 5/5 to fight the Deputy of Detention. Then that Wicked Wolf gets to come out, and... Yep. Man, this is a Wicked Wolf game. I wanted it to be an Oko game. Treasure Cruise. Well, that's free. We don't care about our graveyard at all, so I may as well just go for it. Blue. Refuel just a little bit. Oh, that's awesome. So that's going to allow us to leave up Mystic Dispute as well. So let's go ahead and Spark Double with a blue because I know how to tap for mana. Copy the Wicked Wolf. We're going to fight this guy and eat a food. Yep, and it's over. What was going to happen there was Wicked Wolf was going to fight the Deputy. Deputy gets back the Wicked Wolf. The Wicked Wolf eats the other food and then probably eats the Brazen Borrower just because it's flying. And then we're fighting a 3-1 with an army that is actually able to just one-shot them the following turn. Well, seeing that they are a Coco deck, the Grafdigger's Cage looks a little bit more interesting. Ugins also looking a little bit more interesting. This at least gets around the Selfless Spirit backup plan, but... It also costs 8 mana, and we were stuck at 5 for a really long time there. The Carnage Tyrant's in here just for hard control. Yeah, I want the Grafdigger's Cages because hitting one of them just shuts off the collected companies because cards won't be able to enter from the library. Aethergust showed to be slightly weak there just because it doesn't hit most of their creatures, so I could see a blue. At least it's Deputy of Detention. I think I like this split a little bit more. Wicked Wolf, good magic card. What is with these triple Spark Double hands? That's not very likely. Okay, this is fine. Tugging the Spark Double because I don't actually have anything at the moment that I really want to counter. And they have a Mana Dork. Well... We do too. Okay, I'm probably going to be petty thefting that. Or I just elk it. I kind of like elking it. Dirty Oko player does dirty Oko things. It's not going to be able to grow, but a more important thing is it's not going to get them the card advantage to actually get out of this scenario. Heart's Desire. Okay, so they're just the Coco deck. If anybody was curious, we have a 0.3% chance of pulling 3 Spark Doubles in our opening hand of 7, not including mulligans. Alright, so the Lovestruck Beast will be able to attack off of the elf or the human. I really want a Wicked Wolf here and just eat the Selfless Spirit, and then I can hold up the eat the counter and be able to block the elk. So, yeah, let's create a food token just as a backup plan. Oh, wait, I can't because I used my food. So it'd be Wicked Wolf fight, and then I'd be trading off. Actually, they'd have to throw their tokens into my Oko in order to kill him, which might be fine. No, because the Gilded Goose will be tapping from eating the food. So if I put the Wicked Wolf out, attack the Selfless Spirit, then they have the 3/3 that can hit my 3/3, and they'll hit me for 2. So yeah, Wicked Wolf here. And here goes Wicked Wolf. Seriously, such a good card if you have the support for it. Yep, as expected. Then if they have another Selfless Spirit, this goes a little bit wrong. But if they don't have another Selfless Spirit, then we're pretty much in the clear. Then we get to hold up Petty Theft for the near future. Yeah, opponent really should be offering this trade. But since they're not actually trying to kill Oko here, I think I'm just going to let it go. Yep, there's a 5/5. Display of Dominance can hit a blue or black permanent, looking really awkward in this current board state. Yeah, so Elk the Lovestruck Beast, Brazen Borrower, bounce. I won't have a food token. I can use Traverse to go. Nope, I don't have Delirium yet. So create a food token. This will be able to eat the Tireless Tracker, bounce the Lovestruck Beast. They get another 1/1, but that doesn't really help them at all. Okay, that works for me. Let's thin our deck just a little bit, make sure that we hit our land drops. Going to run out the forest here just because opponent doesn't know about the island, but they do know about the forest. Then we get to create the food token and ship it over to opponent. Then they have to Alpha Strike into Oko, and Petty Theft should be able to protect me as long as they don't hit a Spell Queller. If they do hit a Spell Queller, though, I just sack my food token and get enough mana to pay for Display of Dominance. That's an interesting line. They don't have blue for their own Petty Theft, so I'll just eat the Lovestruck Beast. I get a block with Wicked Wolf and then sack 2 food tokens. Block here. If they have something like a Sunlance, I get blown out. Maybe they didn't think the Gilded Goose was able to make the food. I'm not really sure what they thought with this line. I'm guessing they just missed the fact I had a Golden Goose on the table. Because now I get to make this indestructible and make it a 5/5. Yeah, I'm guessing this is a salty stop. Or something real life came up. Oh, nope, that's a concession. I guess they just didn't see the line. Well, our Okos were better than theirs. And by theirs, I mean they got it once, we got it twice. Oko showing to be a very powerful magic card. Big news here. To everybody's surprise, 3 mana Planeswalker that's been banned in multiple formats is doing busted things. Uh, Sideboarding there was very unfortunate that we had to take out the clever impersonators, but like I could see a world in which I want to copy their tireless tracker because I like to draw cards. Copying their Oko also kind of does something, but if we don't have the ability to keep a spark double on the table, I can't see us wanting to clever impersonator anything in this matchup. There could definitely be a line in a future game where opponent runs out something ridiculous like Magic Mirror, and we clever impersonator copy it, run out our own Oko, and elk theirs, and that could be really cute. But for the most part, like really just hoping to get multiple Okos on the battlefield with the Spark Double, and if we happen to hit Magic Christmas Land with multiple clever impersonators, then I'm a-okay with that. I guess there could also be an argument that I'm supposed to leave them in if opponent has more Okos, because that means I just get to put more of my own in. Okay, turn 2 Oko, and we have a Chain Veil. Oko being able to elk our Chain Veil is also kind of cute if we don't think it's going to survive. Okay, Selesnya typically lends itself to fair colors. They don't have a dork on one, so probably another Coco deck. Guess we'll see. And we are currently up a game. Selfless Spirit. So more Selfless Spirits. Nissa Vital Force is a really good card advantage engine. We'll have to make sure that we actually survive that long, though. Let's go ahead and Oko. Ooh-wee, turn 2 Oko, super powerful. And I guess we get to see what opponent's up to. Another Selfless Spirit. So I do need to start actually answering these spirits. That is a dangerous amount of power that they can put into play in the air that's really hard for me to block. So we currently can generate 4 mana. That doesn't actually accomplish a whole lot for me. I think I'm on Traverse for a land and make my own elk. Just get cards in the yard for Treasure Cruise for the future, and then actually have the mana set up for Nissa. So traversing here, we have most of our colors set up. I'll just get another island. Doesn't really matter. We're going to be creating food with this Gilded Goose this turn anyway. We'll create our own 3/3 so that we can have a couple of blockers on the ground. And then we can start elking their flyers. This might just be straight up spirits. They are Bant. I'm assuming that hitting this land drop here means that they have a Coco on the table coming, but we will see. And they are ignoring Oko. I didn't make the food. Alright, well, I can hit them for 8 this turn. It would have actually been 11 had I created the food token. It's probably good enough. So let's go ahead and create our food token. They have to hit lords in order to make me even remotely care about my life total here. So let's go ahead and sack the new token. We can Nissa Vital Force. Can't Spell Queller this, which is part of the main reason I want to cast this. Go ahead and untap the island because it's probably the worst land that we've got. Might have actually been correct to elk one of their Selfless Spirits and leave the land back to block it. But we are currently threatening a lot of damage that opponent has to deal with here. Well, that's a Lord and a Spell Queller. They get to eat my food token. Currently taking 511. Yeah, that attack might have been a little aggressive. But we'll see how it goes. A spark double means that I'd be attacking for lethal this turn if they alpha and don't have anything else going on. Actually, if I could figure out how to get 4 mana, the Chain Bell would also be lethal, but that's not as likely. Yep. I can gain 6 life off of sacking food tokens. I can assign 1 blocker to their biggest creature. Gain 6. I would actually survive next turn just by cracking food tokens. This really reeks of either Spell Queller or another collected company, though. So let's just try to play this as conservatively as possible. I can exchange a food token for their Lord and actually have a blocker. Nope, it's tapped. That doesn't work. I can take their Lord, though. They'd only be attacking in for currently 6 damage. Nissa ulting isn't really a good line here. I can Elk the Lord. They'd only be attacking in for 6. I can assign blocks with the Gilded Goose, sack a food token. Yeah, it seems like my best line here, so let's go ahead and Elk you. I can float mana before Nissa untaps it, but I don't think that actually benefits me at all. So I create the food token here and sack it. Or I Oko, untap a land, and then sack it. It's just throwing away an Oko, though, so that doesn't really make sense. Alright. Well, we're going to have a ground blocker for the Elk, and I guess we'll see if they're on Coco. There's not much else I can do. Yep, they got something. Spectral Sailor, so that's 1 more damage. That actually gets blocked freely by Gilded Goose, though. Them drawing cards off of that's going to be a problem long term. I also just get an alt Nissa, though. I need a Wicked Wolf. Actually, I need Ugin. I currently have 6 mana. I'm 2 turns away from Ugin. Yeah, I'm not sure what my best line is here. There's a couple of things that I can do, but if they have any kind of interaction, then there's just no playing around it. Well, that does it. So that will be attacking in for 8 in the air. Yep, we're dead. Dramoka's command. Alright, back to this. Aether Gust consideration, although it was awkward the previous game. Display of Dominance. They didn't actually show us a lot of the creatures on the ground. Like, they didn't have the Heart's Desire, Beauty and the Beast card. They didn't have a lot of the mana dorks. Display of Dominance is probably worth it. Just hit Spell Quellers, the Grafdigger's Cages again. I think there's enough upside here. Worst case, we just Elk it. For cuts, probably not getting up to Ugin. We were a little close last game, but probably not getting up there. Chain Veil's a little cute. Another thing we can do is we can exchange the Chain Veil for something the opponent controls, and they'll start taking 2 damage if they don't have Planeswalkers to activate, but didn't think that'd be very likely, so Brazen Borrower can block, and there's also a tempo play. Mystical Dispute, 3 to counter a Coco is best without the cost reduction. 1 to counter Spell Queller, and Spectral Spirit. Yeah, I could see an argument for this. Trimming 7 things. I think we're back to Clever Impersonator, just we have to have an Oko, a Spark Double, and a Clever Impersonator in order to actually activate them. So this is basically just a bad food deck. 100% willing to admit that. Just a bad food deck. Nissa Vital Force. We're either going to keep them at bay or not. We're not going to be grinding. This actually should probably just be sideboard, but Spark Double, having her enter with 6 loyalty and just immediately ulting seemed kind of cute. Like, we just run her out, +1, turn 2, Spark Double, double alter. Like, oh my gosh. That gets me excited. One more card, maybe just the Trail of Crumbs. Again, same thing. Like, we'll get a food token off of it, and it has the ability to draw cards, but opponent's trying to tempo us out, so these grindy cards are the ones I'm first looking at trimming. This is a lot of interaction. But it's probably okay. Alternatively, I'm looking for a Mana Dork and an Oko. Yeah, this is fine. I know what I'm doing on turn 2, turn 3, and then potentially turn 4 if I don't draw something a little bit better. And then slight min-maxing thing here. I'm going to tell my opponent that I'm not doing anything on turn 1 with the Hinterland Harbor, but going to hide the fact that I have lands I can actually run out that are untapped. This will enter untapped regardless, but without something to do on 1, it kind of just makes them think that we might be stumbling on lands and might cause them to take a slower approach when we have an interactive hand. Thought Sponge. I don't think I've ever seen that card before. Commander card. Enters the battlefield with a number of 1/1 counters equal to the greatest number of cards an opponent has drawn this turn. When it dies, draw cards equal to its power. That actually, I loved Chasm Skulker. That seems like a better Chasm Skulker. Looks like opponent stepped away for a moment while we were sideboarding. Yeah, we just feel like a bad food deck, but what can you do? Oka's a really powerful card and he carries us. The entire intent of our deck is just to cast multiple Okos, and you require a lot of cards to do that, and it requires having an active Oko, and an active Oko is pretty much just going to win you the game, so opponent does keep their 7 after the somewhat long mulligan. Alright, good call from our opponent here, actually running it out. Interesting. I'm actually going to Gilded Goose here, just because it has the highest upside of top decking something better, and also lets me hold up Mystical Dispute versus something blue next turn. It also lets Gilded Goose block the Mausoleum Wanderer, suspecting that we're not going to have a blue thing coming down that is instant speed. Like if there's a Rattle Chains, we could still Mystic Dispute it. Good. Very good. Yep, now they can't attack in. And now we have 4 mana for anything that we want to do, but we're not Spark Doubling a Gilded Goose. So we rip a land. Seems about right. What? Oh, it's non-creature. Well, that's a fun show opponent your sideboard attack and not actually accomplish anything. That's fun. It is worth noting, though, that it counts for future permanents, too. Yay! Alright, well, opponent has 5 cards in hand, and we have a Spark Double. We do get to generate some food in the meantime, but no attacks. This looks like a Spell Queller. Little do you know, opponent, I have nothing but nothing. How many lands do we have? 10, 14, 18, 22, 23. 23 is a pretty good number. I mean, we're flooding a little hard given the fact that we found 6 lands and 4 non-lands. Like, that's not proportionate to what's in our deck, but it is in the realm of completely possible. I'm just going to eat some food here to negate the life loss. It's the most we can do with our mana at the moment. Trail of Crumbs. That's a pretty good one, but it looks like opponent has another Spell Queller coming. So I'm going to try to have them run it out for no value, assuming they have another Spell Queller. If they're just squatting on a couple of collected companies, this feels bad, but I'd rather actually have the Trail of Crumbs enter. Okay, that's equally as bad. So now all of their spirits have flash, and Gilded Goose can no longer block Mausoleum Wanderer safely. Well, no fourth land means that we're a little safe. Yep, not blocking. Need to keep this goose alive. He's the only reason that we aren't completely out of this game at the moment. Wicked Wolf. That's actually a really good one. So I'm going to run out the Trail of Crumbs here because this is going to allow us to start drawing cards. Opponent's going to have to interact with it, and if they do, it means that we get a Wicked Wolf and eat their Spell Queller that actually interacts with it. Good. Alright, then that means this Wicked Wolf comes down. We're going to eat you. Delicious spirit. Then we get to recast this. This will actually give us a food token. And Wicked Wolf is something I'm happy to spark double. Coco. Main phase means that they're really just trying to get their beats in at the moment. Wow, all they hit was a Spell Queller? Interesting. Yep, we take 6. And then I really want an opportunity to draw a card here. So it's not actually draw a card, it's look at the top 2 cards of your library. You may reveal a permanent card and put them into your hand. We do have a lot of permanents, but the Trail of Crumbs is actually just going to allow us to Gilded Goose and pay for it. Look at that. We hit an Oko and a Heart of Kiran. So the Heart of Kiran actually is going to be my pick here just because it blocks really successfully, and I can also spark double the Wicked Wolf, eat something, and leave up the crew with the new Wicked Wolf. Oh, we even hit a Gilded Goose. All right, well, let's do the thing. Spark double here. We're going to copy the Wicked Wolf trigger. We're actually going to eat the Rattle Chains here because the Rattle Chains is the card that allows them to play at instant speed, and it's going to be one of the few ways that we actually lose. Then Heart of Kiran runs out. We gotta run out the Wicked Wolf. And now if they want to attack in, they're going to have to answer the Heart of Kiran. Seems pretty decent. Another Coco. So if they hit Lords here, could still be in trouble. That's also a problem. Selfless Spirit gives them a free attack. Deputy of Detention on a Wicked Wolf. So let's crew here. Just so I have a blocker this turn. And they don't want to sack the Selfless Spirit yet. Good to know. Gonna run it back. Fabled Passage. Well, that puts a card in our yard if we find a Treasure Cruise, and it also minorly thins our deck. Sylvan Caryatid, not so hot. Just because we are going to be looking at multiple cards a turn, I do actually want to get some cards out of my deck. That means that this Gilded Goose comes out, and then it's going to create a food token. I can sack this for life and then pay 1. I'll have 3 mana left over, but what I really want right now is a Wicked Wolf, so I'm going to sack this for mana and expect to draw into it. Got to go for my outs here. Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. I think we're kind of running out of time here. Sylvan Caryatid. I think this is the first time we found you tonight, and this is not opportune timing. Taking the shock there means they need 5 mana. Makes me think there's a Rattle Chains and a Spell Queller in hand. I take 8 versus take 6. Let's block here and see if they actually have something to pump it. If they do have 2 flash things, this Mausoleum Wanderer actually represents the most. Yep, there's the Rattle Chain, so it's pretty safe to assume that they have a Spell Queller as well, which means I need to do really well with my food tokens here. Jeez, the Flood. Alright, well, one shot at Wicked Wolf. And hope they don't have a Spell Queller. Grafdigger's Cage, you're a little late. Because this is a permanent, I probably have to reveal it. Yep, reveal a permanent. Grafdigger's Cage doesn't really help me at all. We do gain a little bit of life, and I can actually eat something. Run out Castle Vantress. I don't have an island yet. I mean, it doesn't matter, but I don't have an island yet. It really is worth noting here that the adventure can be countered by a Mausoleum Wanderer. So I want to do this when they don't actually have all the mana open, which is now. Petty Theft here. It might have been a little cleaner to just run out the Brazen Borrower, but I'm really going for tempo here. If I can buy just a little bit of time, we can definitely come back and win this. Well, the Rattle Chains means it's coming back in anyway. I guess I didn't think through that very well. Yeah, likely just lost then. So it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, I'm already dead. Doesn't matter, opponent. Well, that was rough. I do think Game 2 was basically just mana screw. I do think that was well within the realm of winnable, had we not seen so many lands that didn't really benefit us in any other way. Castle Vantress was our first utility land. We never saw a Treasure Cruise to make the Fabled Passages worthwhile. We did have a couple active Gilded Gooses, though. I mean, really all we did that game was cast Gilded Goose and then get our Wicked Wolf deputied. Display of Dominance, we also threw away Game 2, and we mulliganed. I think we mulliganed. Yeah, there's only so much you can do there. Ugin has proved to be uncastable. That fun of that I was thinking would be awesome to have 2 active Ugins. Probably just isn't good enough to make the cut. We could have actually cast in that game. If we would have Ugin there, I don't think our opponent could have come back. They would have had to have run out Rattle Chains in their hand and then actually built a lethal board state at instep. It's not impossible, just not very likely. All right, round 3. I did keep a 4-lander, I think. 3-lander. We're on the draw, and Traverse is basically a land. That means that our first Oko gets to get killed, and then we get to steal whatever their best thing is, but we also don't have our double blue. I can't keep this hand. I keep a lot of greedy hands, but that's not one I'm able to keep. And here, it's either going to be the Spark Double or the Nissa. I think Spark Double on Wicked Wolf is actually one of our best things that we can do with this deck, so we'll tuck the Nissa at the moment. Alright, another green deck. There's been a lot of green decks. Are we getting turn 2 Okoed? No, it's Squirrel. So this could potentially be the sneak attack deck that runs Ilharg and the Worm. It could be another Coco deck. Oh, that's slightly awkward. I guess we're just going to do what we can do and run out our Trail of Crumbs, tell our opponent we're a food deck. That first hand, if we would have been able to Oko on 3, would have actually been pretty decent here. We would have taken 6 damage more than likely, but then we could have just Elk this. Or gain some life. At the moment, our Wicked Wolf won't be able to answer it. Our Wicked Wolf will eat the Elvish Mystic, hopefully stop it from attacking for a turn, then Spark Double, eat the food. So that's a turn 5 answer to the Lovestruck Beast. Yikes. Nope, that's a turn 4 Wicked Wolf to get rid of the turn 3 Questing Beast. We'll take 9 like a champ and probably concede. Traverse doesn't do anything, so taking 10 next turn. Yikes. They did show Steamer though, so Knuckle Blade is probably on the table. It's mostly green, so I don't think we want Display of Dominance yet. The Brazen Borrower is the tempo we're looking for in this matchup. They showed us Questing Beast, but they also showed us the Beauty and the Beast, so I can't imagine they're a Coco deck. Your top end is allowed a couple of flex cards, but by the time that you run Coco, you have room for like 6 more non-4 CMC or non-creature spells. Yeah, I think at the moment we're just going to pass on the Grafdigger's Cage. As far as cuts, Ugin, again, probably just a little too slow. Chainvel, probably a little too slow. I don't even know what else. Maybe trim on some clever impersonators. I actually really like being able to copy their Questing Beast here. So I don't want to trim all of them in this exact matchup, but maybe just a carry added. Just an awkward top deck when it's creature beats. It doesn't really block anything that they showed us very successfully. Then the curve's going to look slightly more like this, which isn't beautiful, but it's fine. The 4 CMCs are a little heavy. Yeah, that was a beating. That was a turn 2, 5/5, turn 3, 4/4, haste, death touch, pseudo evasion. No wonder so many people are playing green. There's some powerful Magic cards in it. Green used to be the laughingstock of the Magic community, and R&D kind of like set out to fix that and gave it a ton of stuff that's supposed to be in other colors. Really surprised that they thought that Veil of Summer was a fine Magic card. It was a counter spell. It was 2-for-1. It just did so much, and it wasn't even in Green's color pie at all. So this is an Aether Gust on turn 2, which is going to make it so that they can't Mana Dork, but nothing else going on. We got to do better than that. And this is slightly better than that. So this is probably tucking... Yikes. It's probably one of our 2-drops. It could also be a land. I could see basic island being a cut here just because we have the Sylvan Caryatid they won't be able to interact with. And then if they turn 1 Mana Dork, we can Aether Gust. If they don't, we'll just Caryatid and actually ramp up to our stuff. Yeah, that probably seems fine. Can't imagine they have a board clear, so Caryatid should be able to generate our double green, and this will just be less painful. Alright, here we go. We have Oko cards. Game Trail, Revealing Forest, and Mana Dork. Nope, Heart's Desire. I actually can't Aether Gust that. Spark Double! Okay, well, we have not actually had multiple Okos on the battlefield yet, and that is a dirty shame. So hopefully we find a land in the next 2 turns so we can Oko next turn and then Spark Double after that. Odds of them growing aren't very high, but I want my mana, and the 1 life isn't actually that relevant. They could technically have something like a Blossoming Defense, but that's not my problem. Alright, Oko number 1. Do you have Mystical Dispute? Apparently not. I'm assuming they have to have something either hasty or flashy. Okay, nothing flashy. This could just be the Lovestruck Beast. Could also see something like a Knuckle Blade coming down here. Okay, so Lovestruck Beast. There he is. Land, land. I want to land. Land means I'm probably actually going to Wicked Wolf, regardless of how much I want to Oko here. That's sad. That's so sad. So I can Aether Gust, I can just Heart of Kirin. Really, really wanted that land. I can exchange control of the food for the human and hope they can't attack, but that cashes out my Oko, not really on my bucket list. I think I'm on Aether Gust here just to get something in the yard. It will probably get them another 1/1 token, but without hitting a land drop there, my options are really, really bad. The Heart of Kirin doesn't actually solve anything. Questing Beast. Alright. Well, it's either the Lovestruck Beast or the Questing Beast. The Questing Beast is legendary, so that actually gives them an opportunity to scry it to the bottom. The Questing Beast hitting me also means that Oko's going to get hit, which is not acceptable. So yeah, I suppose that means the Questing Beast. Then Oko's going to take beats for a turn, like the champ that he is. Then Wicked Wolf gets to play some defense. Gilded Goose, still not what I'm looking for. At least the Heart of Kirin, they did put Questing Beast to the top, will be able to block the Questing Beast. So Gilded Goose here, that's going to create me another food token. Then I get to elk this new food token. Tap down the Sylvan Caryatid for Heart of Kirin. Then Heart of Kirin can block the Questing Beast. Actually, no, Oko's probably just going to crew up. I'll double block the Lovestruck Beast. They did really bluff a Blossoming Defense, so that is a card I need to be aware of. Blossoming Defense on Questing Beast would make it so that Oko still dies. Gilded Goose is technically mana, but I think I'm probably going to run Heart of Kirin and the Gilded Goose in front of it. They'll have to give it +4/+4 in order to kill Oko. Which they have 5 cards in hand. Like, that's well within the realm of possibility. They can almost hard cast Become Immense. Glorybringer. Alright, well that makes things a little more interesting. So, roast a food token. All of it's going at Oko. Exerting on this food token. So let's go ahead and crew off of this guy since it's going to die anyway. We'll block the Glorybringer because it doesn't really benefit us at all, and then throw away the food token. Keep Oko alive. Yikes. On the plus side, if we didn't have Oko, we probably would have been dead here. And it almost would have made sense for our opponent to just eat our Gilded Goose. Okay, well, Fabled Passage is a tap land. Oko, create a food token. Gilded Goose, eat it. I can run out Wicked Wolf, but that means it's going to die. Oko, create a food token. Run out Spark Double. Create another food token. Alternatively, I just elk this. I really like having the non-legendary Oko out because it means that we can cast future Okos, and also means that Clever Impersonator is a fine draw. So what I think I'm going to do is actually just plan on getting the other Oko out and forcing our opponent to kill the non-legendary one. So let's go ahead and sack the food token, make a mana. We have 4, we'll Spark Double. And while they're tapped out, it also means that we're not going to get cheesed out by something like a Wild Slash and have to copy our Sylvan Caryatid. We'll copy this Oko. Then I elk this, it won't be able to kill anything. Alternatively, I just grow it. They still have to attack Oko, but then this is a 5/5. Oh, I elk this, and they shouldn't be able to attack. If they have another Glorybringer, though, then that means both of my Okos die. Yikes. Alright, let's make that a 3/3. Force them to actually have something. They'll kill one Oko, but I'll have the non-legendary one sticking around with 6 loyalty. Seems fine. I mean, we were stuck on mana for far too long, so it's not like we're in a great spot, but it's fine. It also means if both Okos don't get answered, it means I get a Wicked Wolf next turn and just eat this. Alright, they have another mountain in hand. And they do have another Glorybringer. Alright, well, one Oko's still going to survive. They do get to roast my Gilded Goose, which is... Ugh, that's mildly frustrating. I do not actually want to have F6 running because I need to sack this Fabled Passage. If I were an opponent and I saw my opponent on turn 6 only had 3 land and one of them entered on tap that turn, I would totally be eating the Gilded Goose. But they got to do what's right for them. Yep. Oh no, they saw the line. They killed my goose. Let's go ahead and get another forest here. So, elking this, we still would have been attacked for 7 this turn. Probably not the correct line. Nissa Vital Force. Well, that's kind of close to doing something. I have to create the food first so that the Wicked Wolf can grow and eat the Questing Beast. At the moment, I'm going to let the Glorybringer survive because it's going to be tapped for at least one more turn, and then I can elk it, and then it should be able to attack, but let's go ahead and Wicked Wolf here. We'll eat you. Eat you. That goes down, and they have to have another Glorybringer, and we know one land in hand is a mountain. So, there's the mountain. Come on, don't be on more gas. Don't do this to me. I knew about that. Well, that's pretty bad. Ooh, and they have a war boss? Yikes. I don't think I have answers for this. I'm basically going to have to tap out to Treasure Cruise. Which could give me like another Aether Gust, but that's not really what I want to be doing with my life. Finding something like a Trail of Crumbs or a Gilded Goose would at least let me eat the Questing Beast the following turn. Still feeling super far behind though. Castle Vantress enters untapped. I can Nissa, and I'm one land away from being able to cast Treasure Cruise this turn. Or I just Treasure Cruise now, and that means no Nissa. It also means that my Wicked Wolf is likely going to die because I won't be able to survive the Exert from the Glorybringer. Blue is my least useful color, so let's tap out of that. Eat our entire yard. And we had 3 lands. Alright, well, Glorybringer Exert, it's 4, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and we're dead. I can block with the Caryatid and I'll survive at 1, but we're not coming back from that. Alright, well, that was a pretty brutal beating. Opponent had some really powerful cards and we stumbled just a little too hard. But that moves us to 1-2. We also haven't had more than one active Oko yet, which just feels like such a failure. Like, the entire point is just to have a lot of Okos in play, and we have not pulled that off yet. This hand doesn't even have a Caryatid on 2, it's a Traverse on 2. We're on the play, though. The Chain Veil is just such an awkward fun of. Yeah, we can't keep this. It had a lot of the correct style cards in it, it just didn't have the right mana base to support those weird cards. And Chainveil is going to be the trim. Then that means we get to... Let's look a little bit more controlly, run out the island first. We're still going to Trail of Crumbs the following turn, and then we can start sacking it to gain life and actually pseudo-draw. Yavimaya Coast makes me think it's the Bant Eldrazi list. It's also a budget dual land for Oko decks, but Oko is also $75, so that doesn't make a ton of sense. Alright, well, we hit Caryatid here, so I'm just going to run out Caryatid. Rather ramp up, and it also has hexproof, so it can't get Oko'd. Even if we did run this out, it's not like our opponent's going to give us a 3/3 for our food token. Oh, it's Green Devotion. So, yes, they do have Okos. Jade Light is fine. Draw some cards, but we also have a Nissa in hand. They had another Jade Light? Okay, that could be a problem long term. Traverse. Well, I can crack the food token to gain some life here, but it's not actually going to benefit me at all since I won't be able to draw off of it. So let's Traverse, get a card in our yard for this Treasure Cruise. We'll go ahead and grab another Forest. We can Trail of Crumbs, we'll get a food token. And then we'll have 5 mana for Nissa the following turn. That'll give us a 5/5 to block one of the Jade Light Rangers, and then if she ults, we should probably be able to win. We'll just need to be wary of a Ulamog or Ugin. Alright, they've been the Llanowar Elves, kept the Oko. Seems fine. If we turn our land into a creature, it can get elked. That's not great. Clever Impersonator. Well, without Spark Double, we don't get a lot of activations out of that. We can Nissa, create the 5/5, prevent them from attacking for the turn. They just elk, and then I have to trade off for a Jade Light Ranger. Nissa takes 4. Is that fine? That actually might be fine. Alternatively, it's crack the food token. I'll have 2 mana available, which means I can't even really Oko here. So, yeah, I guess we're on Nissa. And then our least useful land is going to be the island. If opponent's going to Oko and do something, I'd prefer they hit the island. No, I'm not attacking. It's better on defense for me. I could see them not actually elking my land. Like, it doesn't make a ton of sense, but I could see them doing it. Just get a food token and start trying to commit to their side of the board. Basic creature elk. I do have to say, I don't think I've ever had a basic creature before. Alright. I mean, pretty good for them. It was basically a strip mine. So, this is Clever Impersonator. I'll copy their Oko, elk my food token. I have a blocker. I can also pick up my island for turn. I don't think that really benefits me at all. I have to find my Ugin for that to matter. So, alright, well, we are 12 Okos in this deck. Just one of them wasn't supposed to be you. Let's go ahead and elk my food token. They also didn't leave their Mystic untapped, which means I get to kill their Oko here. How do you like that? Copy your Oko, kill yours. Now they have to have a questing beast in order to do anything to me, and they still won't be able to kill my planeswalker. Seems pretty good, man. I like that. Can also start using our Trail of Crumbs, like Oko, just create a food token without intent to elk it and start drawing cards. But we have 2 active Planeswalkers versus a Jade Light, and our opponent's having some of the mana issues we were experiencing in the previous 2 games, so... Well, that's a Scooze. That can eat 1 creature with their leftover mana, which they don't even really do. So, I'm going to elk that. Leave a Forest on defense. Can start drawing cards. You want to trade your Jade Light for my food token? Not a fan of that line, but alright. Hitting land drops here is kind of okay. So, do I want to tap everything down except for the Sylvan Caryatid and Treasure Cruise? At best, I'd get a Gilded Goose. I could leave a 5/5 on defense. I do think that's actually the line. It means that if they have another Oko coming down next turn, this food token can attack, but they shouldn't be able to kill my Planeswalkers. So, let's go ahead and do that. We'll untap the forest because it's the worst land that we've got. We'll cast the Treasure Cruise. Find a couple of good cards. Chain Val. Alright, well, I mean, it's a thing. Yeah, I guess we just create a food token and opponent's gonna have to get in through our forest. If we Chain Veil, we can activate it next turn. Seems kind of cute. Okos steal their Scoos would have actually been kind of a decent line last turn. It would have cashed out our Oko, though, and seeing as how that wasn't even our Oko to begin with, like, probably not the best thing we could have done. Like, really, though, Treasure Cruise, we had 8 cards that copy an Oko. I guess technically only 4 since this is already a legendary Oko. We'd have to find Spark Double. Nope, didn't mean to do that. You get your Llanowar Elf. I am trying to figure out what opponent's Nykthos payoff is. Like, they do get to crack a ton of food tokens and stuff like that, but it's not like it's getting them very far. And a Gilded Goose. Alright, so land drop is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can activate Chain Veil and have a 5/5 left over. That's probably good enough. The way opponent tapped, well, I guess it wasn't the way the opponent tapped since they needed the green pips, but I can take their Scavenging Ooze here for a food token, which just seems delicious. I think that's the line, so let's go ahead and do that. Just confirming that's going to be 6, 7, 8, and then I get to untap one more land. So, boom, baby. I get to activate Chain Veil. I'm so happy. Oh boy. Then we'll go ahead and untap another forest. Then we're going to steal your Scoos with the food token. We'll create another food token, and you need something really good here. Oh. I activate Chain Veil, and you can see that's no fun. Alright, well, they are mono green. That means that Aether Gust is coming in. We didn't see Coco. It's kind of safe to assume that they're on it, though, because we saw the Jade Lights and the Scoos and just multiple cards under 4 CMC. The Brazen Borrower can reset a Scoos. I don't necessarily think that's good enough, but it can also bounce a food token, and they did show us Oko. Mystical Dispute. On the play, or on the draw, I actually really like Mystical Dispute because if we have an untapped blue source, we can counter it, but we only have 3 untapped, or we have 7 untapped blue sources, in our deck, which the probability is not there to actually pull it off, so I don't think that's right in this matchup. I don't think this has much long staying power, and they are a big mana deck with the Nykthos and all the mana dorks. Like, this doesn't age well as the game goes on. So this looks pretty solid as far as cuts. Like, Chain Veil's cute. They actually might think we're relying on it and might bring in Rex Sages, so perfectly okay to make that trade. Other cuts, the Clever Impersonator stealing their Oko is a line that I mentioned when we played against it in our second round. I don't want to trim all of these, but I don't think it's great to leave multiples of them around. If we keep an active Oko, we're likely winning, so getting an active Oko with a Spark Double and then trying to Clever Impersonator the Spark Double just seems like we're going to be so far ahead it really doesn't matter. This is a little too slow and has no payoffs. Yes, it's a Caryatid on 2, and we have a Heart of Kirin, but trying to draw into something on the draw, especially with a Treasure Cruise with nothing to fuel the yard, that's not a hand I can keep. I don't really want to go to 5, and this is a little bit better. This at least lets me get both colors going, and then I can Heart of Kirin and hopefully draw into an Oko. The Spark Doubles on the Wicked Wolf should actually age pretty well here, but I'm going to tuck one just because it does require this to stay alive. And Spark Double on Nissa means instant ultimate. Yeah, I wanted a Mana Dork too. This can enter untapped, this cannot, so I'm actually going to run this out, and I'm just going to go grab my island now so I can get some F6 value. I like my F6 value. Anything opponent does won't change what I'm grabbing there, so may as well go for it. Okay, so multiple Mana Dorks. This would be nice when something like Cry of the Canarium or Anger of the Gods would actually be really helpful, but being pure Simic, we lose access to that. Okay, well, if they had brought in Rex Sage, they get to pay off here. But they currently have 5 mana if they have land drop 6, so big stuff is about to start coming out. We're 2 turns away from Wicked Wolf. That's a biggie. That's a big boy right there. They did only have 2 lands though, which means if this Wicked Wolf ends up eating their forest, pretty good spot. They have their own Heart of Kiran. Alright. Well, maybe just a little bit too slow. Turn 3 Nissa, who shakes the world, is pretty darn good. But next turn we get to stick the Wicked Wolf. We can kill the forest. When we kill the forest, actually we'll kill the Botanical Sanctum because it taps for blue. Or this gives them double mana. The forest actually might be the correct line. We get to eat it, and with the trigger on the stack, we can crew the Heart of Kiran though, and swing it Nissa for 4. At least stop her ultimate. Yikes, not doing anything until turn 4 is definitely a death sentence here though. Oh, that gets to protect their land. Yeah, maybe this one's done. I don't even have a way to make my Wicked Wolf indestructible, so I can't really interact with this at all. They did miss a lot of damage here, though. Alright. So, I guess we'll see if they don't cash in the Walking Ballista. Doesn't seem likely, though. I'm going after the blue source at this point. They have plenty of mana. Yep. Cash out the Walking Ballista. We can go ahead and crew up. Then we're just going to trade out for their Heart of Kiran here. If opponent... I think they have lethal, so they should just let Nissa take the hit and then crack back, but... Yep, they did it. So likely super dead here. If I do get to stick my own Nissa, we'll be at... Yeah, we're just dead. They have 12 on the table. Assuming they crew this up with Nissa. Yep. So 6, 7, 8, 12, and we are dead. Let's go to game 3 and hopefully play a little bit faster. Blue or black Brazen Borrower is looking a little more tempting just because we did get tempoed out there. Just lower our curve a little bit. But that'd be for the 2 Clever Impersonators. No, let's keep 1 and trim the Ugin. No, they're Devotion. I actually do want the Ugin. Alright, well, I think that's what we're doing. Our Nissa gets better value than theirs and creates larger lands. It's also not permanent. Really, deck? Like for realsies? Okay, this is fine. We're likely going to be Aether Gusting their Mana Dork on 2. So that means I have to put the Nissa back. But this is fine. An active Okos should actually do a lot in this matchup, and being able to hit their Mana Dork and slow them down actually seems quite good here. Opponent is currently at 6 cards. and keeps their 6. Alright, well, hopefully you don't have a Nutter Butters hand like last game, because that was a pretty Nutter Butters hand. They only had 2 lands, but they definitely put their lands to use. Okay, let's hit you. They put it on top, so they do want the Mana Dork. Alright, ran it back. We get to Oko. Oh my gosh, these treasure cruises. Be cool, deck. Be cool. You're supposed to be a payoff in mid to late game. You're not supposed to be in our top 8 cards. We don't have many Delve cards. We are using these just for a little bit of card advantage. We are technically a combo deck, so Dig Through Time would help us find the pieces that we care about, but if we're making it to the stage of the game where we're casting a Treasure Cruise, we're probably stabilized already, so we just want the raw card advantage. The 2 of them are supposed to be the draw once at some point in the game, not seeing them this evenly, but statistics is a cruel mistress. Going after me. Interesting. So I'm expecting a... Wow. Didn't get a land. I'm going to put this back on the top. That was actually a pretty good line from the opponent. They did it after I drew. If they only had the 1 Mana Dork and I did it to them, they wouldn't have a Llanowar Elves out last turn. But putting him on top means that I get to Wicked Wolf next turn and eat the land that they run out with Nissa, assuming that my read is correct. And then I can run out an Oko and actually start activating my foods after the fact. Who called it? That was me. I called it. Nope, not blocking. So they could technically have another Aether Gust here, but Wicked Wolf happens to have the perks of being mono green, so he's not going to have that problem. We eat this food token. That goes down. Nissa gets to activate and attack me again, but now we're going to have an active Oko into whatever our opponent's doing and a 4/4. So Wicked Wolf actually might be staying on defense for a hot second. I could also see a world in which I elk my Sylvan Caryatid so I can attack in with the Wicked Wolf. Wow, 7 mana? Yikes. Opponent's doing big mana things. I would assume this was Walking Ballista if they didn't tap an odd number of lands. This could be an Oblivion Sower? No, that costs an even amount. Yep, Hydroid Crossus. So that's going to still be a problem. I can elk it. It's going to make it a 10/10 on the ground, but it's going to be kind of manageable. Power 3 or less. I could actually steal their forest. Return target non-land permanent. Yikes. So if I bounce the Crossus, I'm just down. It doesn't really benefit me at all. If I Oko the Caryatid, I won't get very far. I can bounce the Nissa, and that's probably what I'm going to be doing. But that means that this is going to be active for, like, I'm going to die to that very quickly. Not a fan of any of that. But I think at the moment it's just going to be bounce the Nissa. And then they just replay it, make another 3/3 land, and then they're attacking me for 13. I can't really cast this Treasure Cruise. Oko can elk the forest, and then they can't do anything with it. I'd take 7 if they don't actually send Crossus at Oko. Oh boy. If I take the 7 though, and I have their forest, I'll have more mana next turn, which makes my Nissa active. Then I can bounce their Nissa before ultimates. Yeah, I think that's the play to line one, is steal their forest. Nope, because I have to plus them before I can steal. Yikes. You're a big boy. You're a big boy in the way. I honestly don't think I can beat that. So the backup plan would be just bounce the Crossus, hit Nissa, then they replay the Crossus, and I'm in the same spot. I have to draw exactly another Brazen Borrower or an Aether Gust. So 3 of 50, and opponent's going to be drawing a ton of cards. I don't like where I'm at. Likely just going to be fielding this one to the opponent here, but we'll see how this goes down. Yeah, opponent, I didn't like it either. If you told me I was going to be bouncing your 7/7 Crossus, I would have said... I actually probably would have said don't play this deck. We never even got a clone of Oko out. Maybe you could have done more filtering and gotten full in on the combo. I think that's going to be the takeaway if I try to do it again, is actually just have cards like Opt and... Like, the Traverse is cute, but we haven't been able to turn on Delirium, and lands have also been kind of a problem. I don't like the idea of Satyr Wayfinder, but Satyr Wayfinder allowing us to actually delve more cards out actually seems like it might have been able to do something. Okay, then their Wicked Wolf is going to be indestructible when it kills mine, and they get it. I would have to say opponent wanted it more there. They had exactly the correct cards to go off. I think excluding Nissa from the shell is probably one of the bigger mistakes that we could have made. We are currently up a game, so we'll play the last one, but it's been kind of punishing playing similar decks. We've only played against Coco, Bant style decks. One of them was Teamer, but it was basically just green-blue, and then that last green-blue deck. And trying to be cute and having multiple Okos is a thing, but the number of times we've had dead Spark Doubles and Okos in play is just not really what I'm looking for. I'm going to pull up the calculator again while we're waiting for this next match, because let's take a look at this. If we go to population size 60, number of successes in population 4 for a playset of either Oko or the other card, our sample size, let's just say 10 in the first 3 turns. Let's make it 11 for first 4. And number of successes, we only need 1. We're going to be looking at about 56% to see one of our cards in there, but then of 59, do it again, 57. So we'd end up being around a 20% chance of even seeing it happen. No, that doesn't seem right. Sorry, brain's failing while I'm trying to figure out how to get into this match. In order to see both of them, though, it would be a 52. Yeah, I think that puts us around 20% of having both an Oko and a Spark Double in our top 11-ish cards. I'm sure somebody's going to tell me I'm doing the math wrong, but it should be well within the realm of possibility to find both of these by turn 4, but we're just not doing it tonight. Alright, well, Gilded Goose, you're up. Plains, I'm just going to be pessimistic and say that's Bant. It could be the humans list running around, and if it is, we're probably going to be a little bit more favored, but... Okay, it's Control. We have some good sideboard cards for Control. I was really looking for Trail of Crumbs there. Trail of Crumbs would be the card that is just absolutely bonkers here. I think I'm going to be shocking in this Breeding Pool. Traverse. No, I actually wouldn't have the mana to do it. I do want to cast the Traverse, but I'm not going to be able to create a food token in addition with it, so we'll just put this into play tapped and Traverse out for may as well be another forest. Our hand's mostly green. And obviously we're sending a message. Get in there, Mr. Goose. Go honkin'. What do you decide to do with your search for Azcanta? Alright, they kept it. There's an Opt. I'm assuming they're looking for a land. When I play Control and make this line, it's typically Opt will see another card deeper than the search for Azcanta does, so they probably took the Opt off the search. Either that or they drew it on turn 2. Those are really the only 2 ways that that happens. Okay, we have 4 mana. And I think what that means is I want to start taxing their counter spells. Either that or I'm going to take a turn off to try to set up so I can go Wicked Wolf into Nissa. Or I just go Wicked Wolf now and see if they actually have an answer for it. Even if they deck me here, that's fine. Although I won't be making a play on turn 4. So this is just going to be a tap land. Let's actually traverse and see what opponent does. Okay, I think they're F6, so maybe the wolf would have been the correct play there. I'm going to go ahead and grab an island. It really doesn't matter. Right now I'm just trying to fuel the yard for the treasure cruise. And I'm actually not going to attack in. Now there are a couple of flash creatures that can punish me. Goose, live to honk another day. There's also stuff like Blessed Alliance. It may have been correct to just run out the basic there and create a food token. It has the same opportunity cost. The thinning is minimal. The life total doesn't really matter. Castle Ardenville. Alright. I may have this wrong. This could be a Secure the Waste deck. But opponent's leaving up all their mana, and this Gilded Goose means I'm going to have an additional food token. So let's go ahead and Wicked Wolf. While leaving blue up, it's mainly doing that for bluff value. Like, I'm making a clear statement here by eating my food token that I potentially have something I want to do with that mana. And it's only another goose. What have you got? Cycling Cast Out. So this looks like it's Second Sun. Into an Absorb. So if you notice, the way that I Sync-Wits that actually saved my Wicked Wolf from the Absorb. But the fact that they're trying to gain life there just by countering the Gilded Goose means that they do actually care about their life total. They are going to try to stay alive for a little while. So I think that was the correct line. They've been a land. They have a land. This could just be an Teferi. If it is, then Nissa should be coming in pretty clutch here. Supreme Verdict. Perfect. Don't know why they would absorb a goose and then Supreme Verdict. It must have been what they found for their draw step. But this means Nissa gets to come out. Nissa is huge game here, because she ults and we're going to be drawing so many cards our opponent can't interact with us. And we do get to live the dream of Spark double Nissa and get double ultimate. It's going to be all be worth it. I could see them having Brazen Borrower here and petty thefting my Nissa. They also have an Activist Kanta, so this could actually be Approach of the Second Sun. Nope, they're going digging. They're looking for an answer. What'd you find? Well, pause. Yep, they're a little too late there. So really just looking for a land. And they're not even bluffing the Absorb. Okay, I don't know if that's good or bad for me. I'm assuming it's good. Here comes the value! Spark Devil enters as a copy of Nissa. Then we get to Alt Nissa. Alt Nissa. I'm so happy! Make a land drop. Oh, this was so worth it. And we draw a whole trail of crumbs. Well, we don't really get to punish them yet, but This at least means that we get to sack the Crumb to gain some life and get another shot at drawing an additional land card, and then we'll start drawing 3 cards a turn, assuming we can chain a couple of lands together. Fabled Passage is probably the best card off the top. It's uncounterable, draw 4. But if this is Approach of the Second Sun, oh, it's Elspeth. We can kind of deal with Elspeth. I would love, love, love a clever impersonator to copy their Elspeth and then spark double it. Look at that. That's why you have to call your shots. I'm so happy. We have Delirium, right? Yeah, we have 4 card types. Let's go ahead and traverse. We get Clever Impersonator. We can Clever Impersonator. Copy Elspeth. We'll crack the Fabled Passage, which I actually probably should have done first. We can't spark double yet. Yeah, oh well. We have an Elspeth too. Unfortunately, opponent's going to be able to ult right before we do, so we'll see what we can do there. But ideally, we're going to hit an Oko before too long, and we can start elking our soldier tokens. Or like, even if we just elk one of theirs and then destroy all creature tokens, then we'll be ahead by 1, and we can start attacking their Elspeth. Narset. That is annoying. I actually need to answer that Narset. Or maybe I just copy Narset. My ability to dig is going to be pretty good. I mean, Clever Impersonator can copy Cast Out too. Alright, and they don't really want to do anything there. That's kind of intriguing. Okay, well, this is our line. Let's go ahead and Clever Impersonator, copy the Cast Out. We'll cast out your Cast Out. Then choose a non-land permanent for it to copy. Do I actually want the Elspeth here, or do I want the Narset? Do I just copy the Cast Out and take their Narset? That can't be right. I love me some Elspeth, but if they can continue to draw cards and I can't, we're going to lose. Alright, whatever. Narset will help us dig. So let's go ahead and dig with Narset because it's not actually a card draw effect. That's a Chain Veil. What do I actually want to do here? Because what I think I need to do is get Oko out and start plussing on Oko. I can use the Trail of Crumbs to draw on their turn. The Treasure Cruise won't actually draw yet. Whatever. Chain Veil's the only thing I've got going on at the moment. So let's go ahead and do this. We can't draw, so there's no point in trying to. I can Spark Double on Narset and go digging again. If I find a Traverse, then that means I can Traverse for another Clever Impersonator. I can crack the food at their turn. Whatever. I have an Oko. Let's Oko. We're going to elk one of my soldiers. And we're going to attack with all at Narset, because we do win this game if we're allowed to draw. This does open us up to have our Narset or our Oko killed at the moment, but really, really need to get this Narset off the table. Then next turn I get a Spark Double on the... These don't have lifelink. That doesn't really make sense unless you're expecting Blossoming Defense. Yep, that's fine. That actually means that all my planeswalkers are surviving, which means I get to multiple Chain Veil next turn. So far, a fun game. I really, really, really just want another Nissa. I think another Nissa wins the game for me on the spot because she gets to come down. I get to activate Chain Veil and attack in with 2/5/5 lands. That's a problem. So, tuck the cast out. Well, actually, that's a clever impersonator. That's fine. I'm going to get it back next turn. Not next turn, the following turn. Or, yeah, I just have to make sure not to activate Narset next turn. Otherwise, I'll be putting it to the bottom. That's a little bit more of a problem. Alright, well, my food token's gone. Oh, opponent's tapped out. We even have the Spark Double. Oh, I'm so happy right now. And this is a concession. This is why you play fun ofs. I'm going to be cashing out the Narset here, so I'm going to activate it. Oh, there's two clever impersonators. Lame. Alright, well, we get to -5. Just confirming. So 3, 6. Now I need to do 6. I'm so happy. I'm going to shock this into play because opponent's not pressuring our life total, and we're going to draw 2. So I can traverse. I almost had 3 Ugins. Opponent, why do you hate fun? Why do you hate fun? Alright, Display of Dominance kills Planeswalkers. Mystical Dispute helps us play counter fights. Carnage Tyrant is uncounterable. I wanted 3 Ugins. We actually had the ability to have like 5 Ugins there. Here, white and blues. The Aether Gust doesn't matter. The Grafdigger's Cage doesn't matter. We could have done this. We had all the tools to have 9 Ugins. I'm sorry, Oko, but you're just not fun enough. Sylvan Caryatid doesn't matter. We're going to be playing a long game. All of these are card advantage. The Traverse can help us mana fix early game or grab whatever combo piece we need to copy stuff at the end game. Heart of Kirin's an additional threat that's harder to answer because it's sorcery speed. Chain Veil can actually win us the game here, and Oko giving them the Chain Veil could kill them. They have a lot of Planeswalkers, though, and this costs a lot to activate. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of this one. Plus, they have Cast Out, which means we could run out of Planeswalker and a Chain Veil, and then just cast out our Planeswalker, and we're screwed. We only have 7 Planeswalkers. Yeah, Chain Veil, as much as I want to activate 9 Ugins 18 times, like, I don't think we're doing it here. Still need 3 trims. I think everything actually has some value in this matchup, so probably looking at... Jeez. Wicked Wolf, he's one of our worst threats. He's just a generic 3/3 that can't fight anything. And that argument makes me want to bring in a Brazen Borrower over him as well. I think that's the play. Oh, opponent. I wanted to have 9 Ugins. That's why you can't have hopes and dreams, is because there's people who spoil fun. This is great. I mean, it curves out fantastically, and if we find a Planeswalker, we're going to have 2 of it. I mean, honestly, 2 Heart of Kirin's is kind of fine too, but I do have to be wary of things like Detention Sphere now. And there's an Oko. Tap out for Search for Azcanta. I dare you. Cycling the Cast Out. Not a huge fan of that after seeing how the last game went down. But if they're looking for land drops, I've had to do it too. All right, search. No search. Okay, well, if they're not actually going to search there, I don't really want to Oko and cash out my food token. Display of Dominance I can do at any point in time. I'm also expecting a little Teferi out of them next turn, so I think what I'm going to do here is try to cast a Gilded Goose, making it look like I don't have mana, see if I can bait out a counter, which looks like I couldn't. Then I'm going to run out my Forest, and this lets me still hold up Display of Dominance. If they do cast Little Teferi, obviously this doesn't do anything, but if they do cast Little Teferi, then I get to swing in at them regardless of what they bounce. Or if they just uptick, then I'm going to have an active Oko. If I ran out Heart of Kirin there and they did have Little Teferi, then I would have been in trouble. Alright. So, permanents you control can't be the target of blue or black spells. So it's not a permanent until it's already in play. So let's go ahead and Oko. See if they have the Mystic Dispute, which they should have brought in. Or they just have Dovin's Veto. That's cool too. Then I can Heart of Kirin here. I don't really think that's the correct line. I would rather hang on to my food at the moment. I want to send a message. In what world... They only have 2 mana. They would have to Detention Sphere to punish me for this. And if they Detention Sphere my Gooses and I have 4 mana in hand, I'm actually okay with that. Alright, cycling Cast out again. So they were looking for the lands. They also do not have another Dovin's Veto. That's definitely worth mentioning. Clever Impersonator to copy their Teferi sounds like where I want to be at. So there's a Heart of Kirin. Yeah, I mean, I still have Display of Dominance up. It really sucks I'm not punishing them. This is where having things like Questing Beast and Beauty and the Beast and stuff like that just really shows its value over trying to jank out and have multiple funny Okos. I guess I should have kept 1 Goose back to make a food token. Still working my way through it. They obviously have 4 mana up, but I'm going to run out the Oko here. Nope, not conceding. Because if they have counter magic, they're going to use their counter magic. I haven't had anything in a while, which is going to incentivize them to cast their 5 mana Teferi. If they have it. Which apparently they don't. Alright. Now if they do have 5 mana Teferi, I can Clever Impersonator it and then Spark Double it the following turn. Really, really, really looking for some mana, though. Okay, they're leaving the 5 mana up. Not great for us. Just because they're more likely to get more value out of drawing out of their bad hand. And having... If a Planeswalker hits the field, we have 2 of them. But that's only going to get us so far. Little Teferi. I really want to copy that just so I can make it so that they can't counter my stuff anymore. I really think that he is an unfun Magic card. I mean, it's not like that was a powerful play right there, but it just shut off our ability to interact with our opponent. And that's the reason why cloning him is good, is because it means that my opponent can't play Magic anymore, which is just such horrible play design. Alright, well, let's create some food. This is what our geese do. They make food. A future Trail of Crumbs will be pretty good by keeping this up. Future Okos fine. Of course, now I have another Clever Impersonator, but I'm 1 mana shy of casting it. Yep, cloning here would be fantastic. Like, that's really the only thing I want to do at this exact moment, but don't get to. So there's our Heart of Kirin. I probably should have led on this. I don't know, getting a little fried towards the end of playing this deck. Well, get in there. I have faith in you. Like, even Sylvan Caryatid doesn't crew our Heart of Kirin. I know we cut a lot of them. Carnage Tyrant would actually be super good here. Alright, well, opponent's leaving up Supreme Verdict at instant speed. Opponent finds a dig through time. Traverse. I have 2 card types. Lovely. I can traverse for a basic. It's going to be mana neutral. It doesn't actually accomplish anything. Display of Dominance can just destroy Teferi. But I would really rather just clone him. Like, in a perfect world, I just clone Teferi. If they don't have another piece of counter magic because they've already used 3, then I stick it, I attack it, I kill their Teferi, and then I display of dominance their Narset. They have to dig through time to rebuild. I have Planeswalker and Creature in the yard, so this instant's only going to get better. Yeah, so what I've got to do now is destroy their Teferi. This card's not actually doing much for me at the given moment. They have to counter this, if they can. If they can't, then I just clone Narset and look for another piece of action. If they do counter this, then that probably clears the way for my Clever Impersonator to just copy Teferi and lock them out of the game. Okay, they're digging for a counterspell. Suppose that's pretty good. I'm not going to be able to see what they have. But if they tap out for it, then that means that my Clever Impersonator is going to stick and it shuts off half their deck. Okay. So that was kind of a big cost for information, but I think it's fine. They could have also just found another Teferi, which is going to be super disheartening, but now I get to clone their Narset, and I get to go digging for myself. Found another Display of Dominance, which unfortunately they get a C, but now I get to crew up Narset and send Narset at their Narset, and that's actually a decent way to get back into this. I mean, the opponent has 5 cards in hand, but I have a kill spell. I'm close to Delirium to tutor up another clone. I could have sent the goose in. Alright, well, Narset survives for another turn. If I think I'm going to be drawing, I have the Display of Dominance for her, though. And in the meantime, my goose is going to make food. At a certain point, I think our opponent actually does have to Supreme Verdict away my gooses, but they're not going to be able to do it at instant speed unless they find another Teferi. Alright, that's Search for Azcanta. I actually think I'm supposed to Display of Dominance that. But then I get a Traverse for another clone. I guess Spark Double to copy Narset and go looking for more action. I don't know if that's correct or not. Okay, they have a decent amount of mana open. Let's destroy Search for Azcanta. This is going to be one of the ways that they actually get ahead of us, so they have to counter this if they've got it. If they have a counter spell, it has to be absorbed, though. Or they top deck Dovin's Veto, one of the two. Then this means I get 2 Trail of Crumbs. See if they actually found their absorb. Jeez. Alright, well, let's traverse. Brazen Borrower's going to be pretty decent here. I think it's just going to have to be Carnage Tyrant, though. Carnage Tyrant not having haste is going to be a problem. I could also see Clever Impersonator and try to get whatever they find with the Search for His Conta in 2 turns. They either have to cast an Opt during their upkeep to flip it, or... Oko, Trail of Crumbs, Ugin. Alright, let's just go for Carnage Tyrant. Really, really wanted that Trail of Crumbs to survive. Not attacking with the Gilded Goose's last turn was probably going to be the thing that would have lost us the game here. If I still had Heart of Kirin out, we would be very, very far ahead. That's a big Teferi. They have to tuck my Narset. Okay, well, you don't draw a card. Thanks, Narset. The pause, thinking, why didn't that actually do something? Well, they are going to have 4 mana, though, so they can counter things. Carnage Tyrant's still going to be uncounterable. I don't really want to cast Carnage Tyrant now, though, because if they do have a Supreme Verdict that they've been hanging on to, then they get to cash it out. Oh boy, and Ugins just 1 turn away. Alright, well, they do care about drawing cards. Let's Bark Double. This should actually bait out a counter. Let's copy Narset. Narset entering with 6 is actually pretty good. Wow. Alright, well, we aren't actually a Narset deck. I guess we kind of deserve that one. Then I can cash out my Gilded Goose's next turn for Ugin. They should have a counter spell for it. They also didn't bin a card with Search last turn, so they're not flipping it this turn either. They did bin the Field of Ruin. Yeah, I mean, they're not actually drawing cards with Teferi. They are able to untap with it, though. That's an Elspeth. So if they have absorbed mana, then I can get absorbed and then the game's over, assuming I find a land. That's a Nissa. Okay, well, this is going to bait the absorb. I still think Ugin's our best card. They have to counter this if they can. Looks like they can't. So I can pick up Oko, I can pick up Heart of Kirin. I can pick up the Clever Impersonator. I don't think any of that actually matters, though. Just untap a land and see if the opponent has cast out. They are just going to chump block, but I'm going to send this at Elspeth. If for some sick reason they don't, then I one-shot her. I think long-term I actually do want Narset off the table, just so I can actually draw cards off of Nissa's Ultimate, but... we'll see. Gilded Gooses can block 2 soldier tokens as well, so we're at least safe from attacks this turn. They've been the Blessed Alliance. It's going to flip the Search for His Conta. Being 2 colors, I could see an argument to have Field of Ruin in our deck, but we've already had enough mana problems as it is. I really don't want to have to add Field of Ruin on top of the list of reasons why we're not able to keep a hand. Legend Rules Narset. Legend Rules News Narset. Seems fine. Okay, now I'm actually a real far ways away from this Ugin. But Carnage Tyrant does have Trample. Pithy Needle on Ugin. I could see them naming Nissa. Alright, there's the Nissa. So I actually can't even Carnage Tyrant now? Yikes. And they still have Absorb up, but they have no cards in hand. Traverse. Traverse can find me a land. It can also find me a... I can find me a Clever Impersonator, but that doesn't really do anything at the moment. If I copy Teferi, they're just going to alt theirs. I need to take a look at the deck list really quick. So I can Oko hit the Pithy Needle. Although Delirium on Traverse is only for a creature. So I can go get a Gilded Goose that's going to give me enough ramp to get up to the point of Ugin. Traverse for a land. I'll have 4 mana. Yeah, it doesn't really do anything. We took the Wicked Wolves out. Let's see. Did we... We did bring in 1 Brazen Borrower. So I can actually Brazen Borrower, bounce the Pithy Needle, attack Teferi, and then if I rip a land off the top, that means that I can Ugin. If not, I can just Brazen Borrower it in step and hit Teferi with a flyer. Yeah, I think that's the line. Clever Impersonator, get Teferi. I don't have the mana to cast him, so that doesn't work. We'll Petty Theft the Pithy Needle. Alting Nissa doesn't do anything here. Let's go ahead and just draw with Narset. I probably should have done that before this all started. Mystic Dispute's pretty good. Then I untap one of the 5 mana lands. If I attack, then I still actually won't be able to cast Brazen Borrower here. Then opponent just runs back out the Pithy Needle, and I can't interact with it. Maybe this wasn't the best line, but still got to do what I can do. Let's attack Teferi. Doesn't really matter. This does tell opponent what I'm more concerned about, but... Oh, I'm holding up a Mystic Dispute versus a blue spell. I think that's the most I can ask for. Now, if they run out the Pithy Needle again, Oko's a live draw, Clever Impersonator's a live draw. I honestly just want the mana. Getting this Carnage Tyrant might have been a little greedy, considering I didn't have all my land drops here. Yep, opponent names Nissa again. There's a Jace, Architect of Thought. So I can't interact with that at all. But they also don't have any other cards in hand, so I may as well get them to tap out here. That means that they'll only have the blue available, so it's either cast Jace or activate Search for Azcanta. Yeah, they decided to keep Search for Azcanta despite the fact he's a many-factor fiction. Not overly surprised by that. I don't think I've ever had to attack 2 of the same Planeswalker with the same name. I wonder what the Moto interface looks like. Alright, well... Really should have just bounced Teferi last turn. Now I'm super close to dying to both Elspeth and Teferi. Like, I can spark double Nissa. It's not going to get me very far. Let's go digging. There's a treasure cruise. That doesn't do anything thanks to Narset. Yep. All right, that's the game. Can't do much there. The 4 mana pinched me so hard, but we do get to take the play here. I really, really just want something that's not that awkward of a starting hand. Wicked Wolf as a single tutor target's mildly interesting. I do think I want the other Brazen Borrower just as a traverse target, but that means I have to cut a Gilded Goose, just move a little bit slower. Their late game is a little bit better than ours, but we have some fun pieces to at least have an interesting game out of it, which is all I'm really looking for at this point. Deck showed itself to be a little awkward for the meta, so may as well have a fun Planeswalker cloney game at the end. Opponent's sideboard in here is kind of interesting. Like, they did see more of our deck, but and I guess they saw our sideboard pieces, but there's not much to sideboard there. This is so close to being good, but we needed a forest, and that's non-optional. This is fine. This is at least holding up a Mystic Dispute for the little Teferi. And I'm going to be tucking the Treasure Cruise because I won't be able to do anything with it for a while. Opponent keeping their 7 is pretty bad, though. Like, just to be completely candid with it, this is going to be a card advantage matchup, and them keeping 7 means we're going to be a little far behind. Sticking this Trail of Crumbs means we might actually start seeing enough card advantage that we can kind of overtake them unless they find something like a Teferi, but still not what you want to, not the position you want to be in. Do I want to traverse first? I do want the land, but it won't let me hold up Mystical Dispute. I would really rather just not get Force Spiked here. I think that's the important thing. They could have like a soft Stubborn Denial for some sick reason. I'm going to let that go. This is a moment where brainstorming and legacy and brainstorm locking our opponent could be pretty good, but we don't have something to actually punish them fast enough. And I'm just going to be using the Trail of Crumbs here to crack and draw a card. So there's not much of a point to traverse yet. Right now we can pay 3 mana to pseudo draw a card. I think that's just our best line. And I'll 100% take the land. Look at that. There's another Gilded Goose. That's gorgeous. This is going to allow me to hold up hard Mystical Dispute or to crack a food and Mystical Dispute. Do I care about any 3-drop that's not blue? Probably not. So yeah, let's go ahead and just traverse. It also turns on future Treasure Cruises, and we did shuffle our deck with this, so that one that we bend to the bottom at the beginning of the match is going to be making a comeback here. This does tell our opponent that one of our cards in hand is now a basic, but still okay with that. We're going to be drawing so many cards that when we start hitting a point where we activate Goose to get the food and then crack it to draw a card, feel like we're in a pretty decent spot. Supreme Verdict is actually something our opponent needs to start banking towards, assuming they have it. Which doesn't look like it at the moment. There's an Oko. Oko's actually going to force a counter out of them. Our hand isn't like super counter dependent, but I do want to start that. So they didn't see the Oko, but it's fairly safe to just run them out here. Okay, done. Then I want to keep a Gilded Goose on the off chance that they do Supreme Verdict me next turn. If our opponent didn't, or if we would have actually sent a message with the Goose the same turn we attacked with the Heart of Kiran, it would have been a much happier spot. I don't want them to have any action. We don't have a lot of counter spells, but I don't want them to have any action. The longer we keep them off the table, the better. We're also getting kind of close to the point where I can just hard cast a Carnage Tyrant and ride it to victory. That's a treasure cruise. Alright, well, I want to look for a land here, so we're just going to do this now. Heart of Kiran's fine. I want to keep the goose up. I don't actually have the mana to get the payoff yet, so let's Heart of Kiran while they're tapped out. This will also allow me to attack a Planeswalker for 4, should they take that line, and I can still make a food at instep. Also looks like we're holding up the Mystical Dispute. We're only running 3 in the side, but it is a card our opponent needs to be aware of. Lyra Dawnbringer. That's pretty adorable. That is one of the few things that'll actually put up a fast enough clock to fight us, but expecting him to be an elk before too long. Or her to be an elk. Alright, can I get priority? I'd like to make a food. I like food. Alright, Goose, you're up. Honk away. Brazen Borrower. That's actually great here. So I get a Brazen Borrower, bounce the Lyra, just be a huge tempo swing. I can actually run it back out and crew the Heart of Kiran and swing in for 4. I don't think that's overly relevant at the moment, but I do know I want to bounce this before they get enough mana to counterspell me. So let's go ahead and bounce Lyra. I'm still looking for a land. I don't know why I'm having such difficulties finding a land, but let's go ahead and just look for one. We'll crack our Trail of Crumbs. Yikes. Well, Okos still pretty good too. So I'll have 2 mana available if I Goose. That doesn't really accomplish anything for me. So we're just going to make some more food at instep. I do need to be wary of clock at this point. We might be going to turns here just because we're not applying much pressure, and opponent try to get Lyra out to put a real clock on, and it's going to be an elk before too long. Okay, so that's a card. A little surprised that they have multiples of it. Yeah, you can have Rest in Peace or 2 lands. Rest in Peace isn't even that good against us. Opponent took the 2 lands. Makes sense. Alright, honk honk. Make some food. Now, they have enough up for Dovin's Veto, but I have enough up to Brazen Borrower and Oko, so I'm going to go ahead and go for the line that's going to kill the Jace's Architect and see if they have anything else going on. So let's go ahead and cast our Brazen Borrower. They shouldn't have a counterspell for this, but this should mean that Jace dies. So crew up. And I did learn my lesson last time around from the Blessed Alliance. We're going to send a message with a Goose while we attack with our Heart of Kiran. So shoot down your Jace. We're going to keep 1 Goose back. Blessed Alliance is a card opponent has showed us. Then let's go ahead and run out our Forest, and I intend on making a food or drawing a card. Really doesn't matter. We're ahead on board state at this point, so as long as we can stay above clock of our opponent, we are ahead. There's a Narset. Mildly annoying, but we have things we can attack with. Reveals Absorb. I mean, we're aware opponent can have it, but we have power on the table. Alright, let's make a food. And another Oko. So I don't care about my opponent's life total here. I'm just going to put 2 Okos into play. We can go ahead and attack Narset. If they have the Blessed Alliance, it means that they won't have enough mana for Absorb. There's an Oko. Absorb me, bro. Dovin's Veto. Still fine. We're going to crack this. We're not going to draw a card yet. Then we get to Oko again. They shouldn't have a white answer for this. And then we're going to food our token, just so that we can get our clock running. And we'll be swinging in for 10 next turn. I could also see a world where I just elk a goose. I think that our engine is taking up a little bit too much time, so just getting some real pressure on feels strong. This could also be a supreme verdict from our opponent here. Just clear the board. Cast out. Fine. Yep. You got my Oko. So plenty of other threats. Trail of Crumbs really showing its strength to grind here. Being able to get it down before opponent had any counter magic was really clutch to taking this game. Castle Vantress is pretty free. I don't want to activate the Heart of Kirin in case they have something stupid like a Settle the Wreckage. And we still are pretty far ahead, so I'm just attacking in for 6. We have them on a 3-turn clock. We'll easily be able to win in 4 minutes. I do expect opponents, whatever it's called, Lyra to come back down at some point, but for the moment, let's go ahead and just Treasure Cruise. They still have the Absorb, but this just gets counters out of their hand. And this is pretty much no cost. They did actually show us that... yeah, I don't care about that. Still super far ahead. And I'm going to be able to draw a card just off the 2 gooses this turn anyway. There's the Lyra. It's going to turn off attacks until at least find an Oko or another Brazen Borrower. So create a food. Go ahead and sack it. Pseudo draw a card. Oh, look at that. Those are some beautiful cards. Traverse can actually copy their thing. I ate away the Yard, though, so probably not the best thing I could have done there. Go ahead and cast the Carnage Tyrant. I suspect that opponent will attack in with Lyra and then Supreme Verdict to get rid of the Carnage Tyrant. Then we'll have a backup for it. And if they have to keep Lyra back on defense, we're pretty far ahead. Opponent has also shown us an Elspeth. An Elspeth will clear the board. Thank you for that. Don't really want to draw any more lands. Also, this is still food, right? I should be able to sack this. I didn't play standard. Yep. And we drew the Nissa anyways, so trying to make some faster decisions here just because of the clock. I'm going to attack in with the Carnage Tyrant and the food. Opponent will be able to block the food and Blessed Alliance us in the end combat step, but really can't do a whole lot to play around that. Besides, if they ended up spending their mana doing that, then actually they get to do it before combat damage. I should have swung in with 2 creatures. Doesn't look like it mattered, though. Let's go ahead and Nissa. Opponent's probably cashing in. Oh, nope, they still have their Absorb, so not cashing in yet. I do actually just want to get a land drop for this turn, so let's go ahead and Traverse. I've been a little pinched on mana here. I haven't been able to activate the Goose as much as I want to. So we'll give this a turn. Alright, they're scrying with Castle Vantress, so they're behind by a little bit. If they do find an answer, we still have a backup Carnage Tyrant. And if they do actually activate another Field of Ruin, that lets me create a food token, so that'll probably at least stop them from fielding me here. Attacking. So I suspect this is the Supreme Verdict, so I'm just going to throw the Brazen Borrower away. They're going to gain the 5 life regardless. And I can actually use a future Nissa if it sticks to rebuy the Brazen Borrower for the bounce effect. Yep, Supreme Verdict away. Mystical Dispute is actually great here. So this lets me Carnage Tyrant again, and this actually might just prompt a concession. Activating Castle Vantros. Sure. Doesn't affect me at all. Opponent's minute down on clock, and we're ahead on board state. We're also going to be getting a food generator for this Trail of Crumbs, so we're going to have more card advantage coming out of them. I do think I'm actually just going to leave up Mystic Dispute over the Gilded Goose, though. The Goose is still going to make a food the turn that it comes down, and Mystical Dispute could actually stop something like... probably not a Teferi, but it's a card to be kind of cautious of. Carnage Tyrant should be able to kill most of the Planeswalkers that come down. Oh, Upkeep Scry? Sorry, I should be saying they put 2 to the bottom last time, and they put 2 to the bottom here, so they're really digging for something very specific. 30 seconds left on clock and no pressure. It's over. But we'll keep playing it out. Display of Dominance will give us hexproof, so that's great. Don't really need to run anything into potential counter magic here. We're ahead. May as well just stay ahead. Yeah, what the heck. I like drawing cards. Let's Gilded Goose. We have a minute 30 over our opponent, so... I want my goose, darn it! Alright, so I have 5 mana available, which means I can actually crack the goose, food, and hold up Display of Dominance here. But they're out of time, and we're ahead. If they pass priority back to me, I'd take a look at the top 2 to see what I could pick. I probably should have just done that on my turn, knowing that they were going to run out the clock, but what can you do? All right, well, we went 2-5. I've mentioned a lot of thoughts since we played a lot slower games today. This is a very powerful package, and it was really memey to say we can put 12 Okos in the deck. I did mention at the start of the video that it is possible to have essentially infinite Okos in Standard, but it's not really that plausible because you have to have a Spark Double enter the battlefield as a Spark Double, not as a copy of something, and then you can quasi-duplicate it. The Clever Impersonator did have the ability to copy the Spark Double after it became non-legendary, so we were at a point where we could have had multiple activated Planeswalkers. Versus that last opponent there in Game 1, we actually would have had the ability in hand to have 4 Ugins in play at the same time, but they conceded at 1 Ugin, so it's kind of like it's winning more, and that greed punished us versus the faster decks. When our opponent went with turn 2 Beauty and the Beast, the 5/5, like turn 1 Mystic, turn 2 5/5, turn 3 Questing Beast, and we were like, okay, well, I can put an Oko into play, but I'm just going to die because I didn't have my own mana dork. That was super painful. Traverse being able to go and tutor our Spark Double was actually amazing. I do like that synergy, but I believe this is something similar to what people were doing in Standard with the Oko decks and Spark Double. Overall, just a little too greedy, but we had some fun games with it, especially at the end there when our opponent was a little bit slower, and we were like copying their Elspeth and copying their cast out and casting out their cast out, and Teferi did prove itself to be a little bit of an annoying Magic card where it just shuts your opponent out, and if we were able to copy our Teferi in that one crucial play where we tried to bait the counterspell with the Destroy Teferi before countering it, like, we would have just shut them out so hard that there's no coming back. And there's a couple of things like that that just stop what this deck is trying to do. Overall, though, pretty fun. Nissa Vital Force with Spark Double is also really awesome. The turn that we put Nissa out, put a 5/5 in front of them, and then put out Spark Double and double ulted Nissa Vital Force just felt so amazing. Like, those are the types of games of Magic that I just love to play. And then our opponent narsetted and stopped us from drawing cards. But we still tried to put the pressure on. We were trying to figure out how to draw during their turn with the Trail of Crumbs. And there are a lot of really fun pieces of this deck, but obviously the more competitive build is more fine-tuned, and you're going to win more matches with it. But anyways, that was the deck. I am 13. I play a bunch of fun decks for Squirrel Dealer. We have a ton of them up on YouTube. Feel free to go check it out. Thanks for hanging out tonight. If you do want to come and hang out for another stream, my schedule's over there on the left. The Squirrel Dealer staff account for Twitch will always be hosting our content. And thanks for hanging around. Feel free to send me a cool deck. Anyways, have a good night, everybody.